Education is widely accepted to be a fundamental resource, both for individuals and societies. Indeed, in most countries basic education is nowadays perceived not only as a right, but also as a duty. From a historical perspective, the world went through a great expansion in education over the past 2 centuries. This can be seen across all quantity measures. Global literacy rates have been climbing over the course of the last 2 centuries. Here are the top 10 list of countries with the best education system. Number 10. Switzerland. The education system in Switzerland is very diverse, because the Constitution of Switzerland delegates the authority for the school system mainly to the cantons. The Swiss Constitution sets the foundations, namely that primary school is obligatory for every child and is free in state schools, and that the confederation can run or support universities. The minimum age for primary school is about 6 years in all cantons but Obwalden, where it is 5 years and 3 months. After primary schools, the pupils split up according to their abilities and intentions of career paths. Roughly 25% of all students attend lower and upper secondary schools, leading, normally after 12 school years in total, to the federal recognized matura or an academic baccalaureate, which grants access to all universities. Citation needed. The other students split in 2 or more school types, depending on the canton, differing in the balance between theoretical and practical education. It is obligatory for all children to attend school for at least 9 years. The first university in Switzerland was founded in 1460 in Basel, with a faculty of medicine. This place has a long tradition of chemical and medical research in Switzerland. In total, there are 12 universities in Switzerland. Number 9. Japan. Education in Japan is managed by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, MEXT, of Japan. Education is compulsory at the elementary and lower secondary levels. Most students attend public schools through the lower secondary level, but private education is popular at the upper secondary and university levels. Education prior to elementary school is provided at kindergartens and daycare centers. The programs for those children aged 3 to 5 resemble those at kindergartens. The educational approach at kindergartens varies greatly from unstructured environments that emphasize play to highly structured environments that are focused on having the child pass the entrance exam at a private elementary school. The academic year starts from April and ends in March, having summer vacation in August and winter vacation in the end of December to the beginning of January. Japanese students consistently rank highly among OECD students in terms of quality and performance in reading literacy, mathematics, and science. Number 8. India. Education in India is primarily managed by state-run public education system, which fall under the command of the government at 3 levels: central, state and local. Under various articles of the Indian Constitution and the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, 2009, free and compulsory education is provided as a fundamental right to children aged 6 to 14. The approximate ratio of public schools to private schools in India is 7:5. Up until 1976, education policies and implementation were determined legally by each of India's constitutional states. The 42nd Amendment to the Constitution in 1976 made education a concurrent subject. From this point on, the central and state governments shared formal responsibility for funding and administration of education. Number 7. South Korea. Education in South Korea is provided by both public schools and private schools. Both types of schools receive funding from the government, although the amount that the private schools receive is less than the amount of the state schools. South Korea is one of the top-performing OECD countries in reading literacy, mathematics, and sciences, with the average student scoring about 519. South Korea is well known for its obsession with education, which has come to be called education fever. The resource-poor nation is consistently ranked amongst the top for global education. Academic success is often a source of pride for families and within South Korean society at large. South Koreans view education as the main propeller of social mobility for themselves and their family, as a gateway to the South Korean middle class. Graduating from a top university is the ultimate indication of prestige, high socio-economic status, promising marriage prospects, and a prestigious and respectable white-collar career path. Number 6. Germany. Education in Germany is primarily the responsibility of individual German states, Länder, with the federal government playing a minor role. Optional kindergarten, nursery school, Education is provided for all children between 1 and 6 years old, after which school attendance is compulsory. Overall, Germany is one of the best performing OECD countries in reading literacy, mathematics, and sciences, with the average student scoring 515 in the PISA assessment test, well above the OECD average of 497 points. Germany has a less competitive system, leading to low rates of bullying and students having a weak fear of failure but a high level of self-confidence and general happiness compared to other OECD countries like South Korea. Additionally, Germany has one of the largest percentage of top performers in reading among socio-economically advantaged students, ranking 3rd out of 76 OECD countries. This leads to Germany having one of the highest educated labor forces among OECD countries. The Human Rights Measurement Initiative finds that Germany is achieving 75.4% of what should be possible for the right to education, at their level of income. Number 5. Norway. The school year in Norway runs from mid-August to late June the following year. The Christmas holiday from mid-December to early January historically divides the Norwegian school year into 2 terms. Presently, the second term begins in the beginning of January. The Norwegian school system can be divided into 3 parts: elementary school, barneskole, ages 6 to 13, lower secondary school, ungdomsskole, ages 13 to 16, and upper secondary school, videregående skole, ages 16 to 19. The barneskole and ungdomsskole levels are compulsory, and are commonly referred to as grunnskole, literally translates to base school. Elementary and lower secondary school are mandatory for all children aged 6 to 16. Before 1997, mandatory education in Norway started at the age of 7. Students often have to change school when they enter lower secondary school and almost always have to change school when they enter upper secondary school, as many schools only offer one of the levels. Number 4. United Kingdom. Education in the United Kingdom is a devolved matter, with each of the countries of the United Kingdom having separate systems under separate governments. The UK government is responsible for England, whilst the Scottish government, the Welsh government and the Northern Ireland executive are responsible for Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, respectively. The Programme for International Student Assessment, coordinated by the OECD, currently ranks the overall knowledge and skills of British 15-year-olds as 13th in the world in reading, literacy, mathematics, and science, with the average British student scoring 503.7, compared with the OECD average of 493. Number 3. United States. Education in the United States is provided in public, private, and home schools. State governments set overall educational standards, often mandate standardized tests for K-12 public school systems, and supervise, usually through a board of regents, state colleges, and universities. The bulk of the $1.3 trillion in funding comes from state and local governments, with federal funding accounting for only about $200 billion. Private schools are free to determine their own curriculum and staffing policies, with voluntary accreditation available through independent regional accreditation authorities, although some state regulation can apply. By state law, education is compulsory over an age range starting between 5 and 8 and ending somewhere between ages 16 and 18, depending on the state. This requirement can be satisfied in public or state-certified private schools, or an approved home school program. Compulsory education is divided into 3 levels: elementary school, middle or junior high school, and high school. Number 2. Canada. Education in Canada is for the most part provided publicly, and is funded and overseen by provincial, territorial, and local governments. Education is within provincial jurisdiction and the curriculum is overseen by the province. Education in Canada is generally divided into primary education, followed by secondary education and post-secondary. Within the provinces under the Ministry of Education, there are district school boards administering the educational programs. Education is compulsory in every province and territory in Canada, up to the age of 18 for Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nunavut, and Ontario, and up to the age of 16 for other jurisdictions, or as soon as a high school diploma has been achieved. In some provinces, early leaving exemptions can be granted under certain circumstances at 14. Canada generally has 180 in Quebec, school days in the year, officially starting from September, after Labor Day, to the end of June, usually the last Friday of the month, except in Quebec when it is just before June 24th. Number 1. Finland. Revered as the best education system in the world, Finland has meticulously curated an apparatus for academia and learning that is at par with almost all countries around the globe. Emerging as an intellectual in the domain of education, the Finnish education system is meant to have cracked the code of imparting quality education and following the motto of eternal learning. The uniquely created Finland education policy is one of the key reasons why Finland has the best education system in the world. The Finnish education system contains 9 years of compulsory basic education, early education, and care, pre-primary education, upper secondary education, higher education, and finally adult education. In this top 10 list we have summarized the top 10 countries in the education system. Education provides stability in life, develops critical thinking. This is vital in teaching a person how to use logic when making decisions and interacting with people. And it's something that no one can ever take away from you. By being well educated and holding a college degree, you increase your chances for better career opportunities and open up new doors for yourself.